All right, let's dive into something that's frankly a little wild. We're talking about Tether, the stablecoin giant, now running on the Bitcoin network. And this isn't just some tech update you can ignore. Nope, this is a head on collision between two totally opposite ideas about what money is even supposed to be.
And that really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? It forces us to ask this fundamental question: what was the point of Bitcoin in the first place? Was it this radical invention meant to make banks obsolete? Or has it maybe become a platform that actually helps them? Let's dig in.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we're going to jump back to the very beginning, to Satoshi's original, trustless vision. Then, we'll pivot to Tether's model, which is all about trust. After that, we'll see how these two worlds have been mashed together. And finally, we'll step back and try to figure out what it all means. Okay, so to really get this, we've got to go back, way back to 2008, when the Bitcoin white paper first dropped. The document that kicked this whole thing off.
And this line right here, this is everything. It's the entire philosophy of Bitcoin in one sentence. Remember, this came out right after the 2008 financial crisis. The idea was radical. Build a system where you don't need to trust a bank, a government, or any company. The only thing you have to trust is the math.
And this is what that math was supposed to create: a way for me to send money directly to you, online, with nobody in the middle. No bank taking a cut, no payment processor holding things up, just a pure person-to-person transaction. The way it works was, and still is, revolutionary. Instead of a bank having a secret ledger, everyone in the network shares one massive public ledger. And to prevent someone from spending the same money twice, the network forces computers to solve these incredibly hard math problems. That's proof of work. It's what makes the system secure, all without a single boss in charge. Okay, now let's hit the fast forward button. We're going to look at a completely different beast: Tether. It's the biggest stablecoin out there, and it was built to solve a totally different problem: crypto's crazy price swings, using a very, very traditional approach.
And boom, right there you see the difference. This quote from Tether itself points to two things that are the complete opposite of Satoshi's vision. First, a central company is in charge of issuing tokens. And second, you have to go through a Know Your Customer or KYC process. You have to prove who you are to them.
This is the deal with Tether. It's a centralized stablecoin. The whole reason it's worth $1 is because you trust a single company, Tether, to hold $1 in reserves for every token they create. The entire model is built on trusting that one company. So if you really think about it, Tether is basically playing the role of the exact central mint that Satoshi wanted to get rid of. They're the only ones who can create or destroy their tokens. They hold the cash, they demand your ID. It's the old financial system just with a crypto wrapper. So you've got Satoshi's trustless cash on one side and Tether's trust-based mint on the other. It's like oil and water, right? You would think there is absolutely no way these two could ever mix. And yet, here we are. So how on earth does this actually work? Well, it's kind of like a partnership, but a really weird one. This slide lays it out perfectly. Look, Tether keeps total control over the asset itself. They create it, they destroy it, they back it with real money, and they verify the users. But the Bitcoin network, it takes over for everything else. It handles the actual movement of the money, making sure transfers settle correctly, and providing that rock-solid security. But that still begs the question, right? How is it even technically possible to put an asset that depends entirely on trust onto a network that was built from the ground up to get rid of trust? The magic trick here is something called taproot assets. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Tether basically creates a master deed for all of its tokens and then gets that deed officially stamped into the public Bitcoin ledger. That's the anchor. Once that's done, you and I can trade little pieces of that deed, the actual Tether tokens, and the entire Bitcoin network acts as the world's most secure notary, making sure every single transfer is legit and can never be reversed. And that's really the key takeaway of how this works. You get this bizarre hybrid. The value of the asset is totally centralized, controlled by Tether, but the movement of that value is completely decentralized, secured by the most powerful computer network on the planet. So now that we know how it works, we have to go back to our big philosophical question. What does this really mean for Bitcoin's original purpose? Is this a natural evolution, or is it a total betrayal of its founding ideals? I mean, just look at this side-by-side comparison. It's night and day. Satoshi's vision was decentralized issuance through mining. Tether is centralized. Bitcoin is built on cryptographic proof. Tether is built on trusting a company. Bitcoin uses anonymous keys. Tether demands your verified ID. One was built to replace the banks. The other was built to work with them. So, where does that leave us? Well, on one hand, you could argue that Bitcoin is just growing up. It's becoming the base layer for all kinds of assets, the ultimate settlement network for the world. But on the other hand, by embracing a model that relies on a central company and identity checks, does Bitcoin lose the very thing that made it revolutionary? Is it an evolution of its purpose, or is it a compromise of its soul? That's the billion-dollar question. Thanks for tuning in.